What's going on, everyone? My name is Tenebrous Infinite, and welcome back to Generation Zero. Today, we'll be talking about 5 things I'd like to see come in the next major DLC for GZ. Alpine Unrest launched back in November of last year, so about 6 months ago now, and I think it's safe to say that we're due for a new DLC, maybe summer to early winter. So with that in mind, I thought it would be fun to just brainstorm some things I'd personally like to see in the next DLC, or the one after that if this DLC is already well underway. So the first thing I'd personally really like to see is a long distance range, some sort of sniper target range. We currently have 2 target ranges in the game, one at the Skite Club and one at the police station in Himmervet. And though both of these ranges are great for most of the guns in the game, they aren't very good for testing out any of the sniper rifles in the game. You all know I love testing the guns in GZ, and the only weapons I have left to test are the snipers themselves. So this is kind of a selfish want for the game, but one that I think would be incredibly useful. The next thing that I would like to see is a location where the hunters are launched from. With the new introduction of hunters being called in by harvesters as reinforcements, I think it would be really awesome to see where they are launched from originally, and maybe add a little bit of lore to the behavior and location in specific. I think that the airfield looking location on the eastern island would be a great place for this. It could potentially be heavily guarded by a new class of machines that I will get into shortly here. So this next idea is kind of a long shot, but it's an idea that I've had for quite a while now. This is an idea I've had for 7 crown weapons, and the idea itself is kind of wild, but hear me out here. These 7 crown weapons would essentially drop the experimental features of 6 crown weapons, so they wouldn't have any of the crazy burning bullets or EMP effects or any of that sort of stuff, and would instead go back to our typical vanilla guns. The sole difference being that these would be much stronger than the 5 crown versions and potentially the 6 crown versions as well, and stylistically would have engravings of either Nordic artwork or Norse runes across the guns. These would either wind up being stronger than the 6 crown guns stat-wise, or would instead serve as a sort of middle ground between the 5 crown and the 6 crown guns. It would be really awesome to see some highly stylized weapons in game, and would be a great way to work in some Scandinavian heritage into the guns we use in Generation Zero. And the next idea number 4 here, is for us to get a new faction type of clothing. On Himfell, we saw the introduction of resistance clothing, and they were really sick. Some of my favorite vanity items to date. So I think it would be really awesome to see some new faction vanity items, either from the Leuset cult, the Machine Worshippers, or the Iron Church. Or maybe even a new faction specific to this DLC. For this, I don't want to brainstorm too far and kind of leave the idea more so to the team if it's an idea that they fancy, but it would be really nice to see these vanity items sway greatly from the designs we have so far to really spice up the new faction set. And my last idea here is that I would really like to see a new machine class come to the game, but one that is specific to the DLC itself. Unlike with Himfell, where the Apocalypse machines became frequent to the mainland. It would be really cool to see some deadly new class specific to this DLC to provide a big reason to purchase the DLC itself, to create a nice challenge in the DLC, and also to provide a source for potentially obtaining the new tier of weapons that I had spoken about earlier. Each machine could drop 1 or 2 weapons of the new crown level, and in regards to the hunter launching site that I had also talked about earlier, could be enemies that we would have to face en masse at that location. The new machine class could take a huge variety of approaches, but one that I think would be super cool to see would be flying variants of machines that we've been fighting so far. So, flying hunters, combat ready seekers, airborne ticks, and maybe a flying version of the harvester. This would be kind of cool, as it would like coincide with the Apoco machines that have hunters, runners, tanks, and ticks. And these new airborne machines would again be specific to this DLC to provide an adequate challenge upon taking on the DLC, and would create a great chance to earn the new Nordic style weapons. So let me know, my dudes, what do you think of my ideas here? What would you like to see in a new DLC? As always, let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Y'all know I'll be down there chatting with you about it. Thank you for watching my video here, brainstorming some new ideas for the upcoming DLC in GZ, and I will catch you all in the next one. This month's update comes out really soon, so let's all get hyped. Thank you so much for watching. Peace, folks.